To create the Arduino project number 12, which is the RGB light dimmer, we will need few materials. Here are the components. We will need jumper cables, male to male, 220R resistor, 10K potentiometer, an RGB LED. The provided Arduino code is for an RGB light dimmer where the brightness of each color, red, green, and blue in an RGB LED can be controlled using 3 potentiometers. Here's a brief explanation of the code. Pin definitions. Red pin 9, green pin 10, and blue pin 11 represents the digital pins connected to the red, green, and blue pins of the RGB LED respectively. Pot pin red 0, pot green pin 1, and pot blue pin 2 represents the analog pins connected to 3 potentiometers controlling the intensity of red, green, and blue colors. In the setup function, it sets the RGB pins, red pin, green pin, and blue pin as an output. It initializes the serial communication at a baud rate of 9600 bps for debugging purposes. In the loop function, it reads the analog values pot red pin, pot green pin, and pot blue pin using analog read and stores them in variables pot red, pot green, and pot blue. It maps the analog values 0 to 1023 to the appropriate range for RGB values 0 to 255 using map for each potentiometer, resulting in variables val1, val2, and val3. It prints the RGB values to the serial monitor. It calls the color RGB function with the map values. Color RGB function. It takes 3 arguments representing the intensity of red, green, and blue colors. It uses analog write to set the brightness of the RGB LED for each color, constraining the values to be between 0 and 255. In summary, this Arduino code allows the user to control the brightness of the red, green, and blue colors in an RGB LED using 3 potentiometers. The analog readings from the potentiometers are mapped to the range of 0 to 255, and the resulting values are used to set the intensity of each color in the RGB LED. The RGB values are then printed to the serial monitor for monitoring.